The drama surrounding this fight wasn't just about two names stepping into a ring. It was about reputation colliding with ambition, power meeting precision, and a champion being forced to answer questions no one had dared to ask before. From the very first moment, the atmosphere felt different. The arena buzzed with anticipation, not just because Gervonta Davis was in the building, but because across from him stood a man many believed was being underestimated, Lamont Roach Jr. One was a knockout artist, a feared finisher with an aura of inevitability. The other was a calculated technician stepping into the biggest moment of his career with something to prove. As the introductions echoed through the arena, Roach was announced first, the challenger, the reigning WBA super featherweight champion, calm but focused. Then came Davis, the undefeated WBA lightweight champion, draped in confidence, carrying the weight of expectation. This wasn't just another title defense for him. This was supposed to be another statement. But fights don't always follow scripts. Opening round unfolded like a chess match rather than a firefight. Roach moved cautiously, refusing to rush into danger. He knew what Davis was capable of. Everyone did. The power, the timing, the devastating counters, it was all part of the legend. And yet, Roach wasn't intimidated. He circled, measured, and waited. The crowd murmured, some even booing the lack of early fireworks, but Roach didn't care. For him, survival wasn't enough. He needed control. Davis, meanwhile, remained patient. He wasn't the type to waste energy chasing ghosts. Instead, he watched, studied, and looked for openings. Every feint, every step, every subtle shift in Roach's stance. It was all being analyzed. By the third round, the tempo began to rise. Davis started digging to the body, those sharp thudding punches echoing through the arena. A straight right hand cut clean through the guard, a reminder that even a single mistake could change everything. But Roach responded. He fired back with sneaky right hands of his own, catching Davis in moments where the champion seemed just slightly too comfortable. It was subtle at first, but something important was happening. Roach wasn't just surviving, he was competing. As the rounds progressed, the fight became increasingly tactical. Roach continued to pick his spots, landing precise shots while avoiding prolonged exchanges. Davis, known for his explosive finishes, found himself in a different kind of battle, one that required patience and adaptation. Then came the mind games. Midway through the fight, the tension began to spill over. Words were exchanged, glances lingered a little longer. Davis, ever the showman, flashed confidence, sticking out his tongue, taunting, daring Roach to engage. And for a moment, it worked. Roach responded, stepping into exchanges that played closer to Davis's strengths. That was the danger. Against someone like Davis, losing focus for even a second can be catastrophic. His ability to capitalize on predictable patterns is what makes him so dangerous. And as Roach stood in front of him trading, the risk became obvious. But Roach didn't break. Instead, something unexpected happened. In the seventh round, the fight exploded into life. Roach began landing clean, sharp combinations. Double. Left hooks to the body and head, right hands that snapped Davis's head back. For the first time, the champion was being pushed backward. The crowd reacted instantly. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. Then came the moment. A perfectly timed counter right hand from Roach caught Davis clean and forced him back. It wasn't just a punch. It was a statement. It said, "I belong here." It said, "You're not invincible." And just like that, the fight changed. Davis responded the only way he knew how, by turning up the pressure. He dug to the body, fired back with explosive combinations, and tried to reassert control. But Roach wasn't backing down anymore. He stood his ground, trading shots, answering fire with fire. Round 8 brought even more drama, a sudden exchange, a clash of timing and power, and Davis took a knee. The arena erupted in disbelief. Whether it was a slip, a balance issue, or the result of Roach's counter didn't matter in that moment. What mattered was the image. The undefeated champion, momentarily grounded, facing adversity in a way fans had rarely seen. Davis rose quickly, but the message had been sent. This was a fight. From that point on, every round carried a sense of urgency. Davis began loading up, searching for the kind of shot that could end everything instantly. His left hand, his most dangerous weapon, came closer and closer to finding its mark. But Roach remained composed, continuing to land combinations, mixing in uppercuts, right hands, and body shots. What made it even more compelling was the unpredictability. Davis would land a crushing body shot, and it felt like momentum was shifting. Then Roach would respond with a clean combination, snapping it right back. It became a back-and-forth battle, each man refusing to give ground, each exchange adding another layer to the story unfolding inside the ring. By the 10th round, the numbers told a surprising tale. Roach was outlanding Davis, not by a massive margin, but enough to raise eyebrows. Enough to make people wonder if the unthinkable was happening. Davis, the knockout artist, the dominant champion, was being pushed to the edge by a challenger who refused to fade. And yet, the danger never disappeared. Every time Davis threw that left hand, the possibility of a sudden ending loomed. That's what made the fight so tense. It wasn't just about who was winning rounds. It was about who could change everything in a single moment. As the championship rounds approached, both fighters dug deep. Round 11 saw Roach continuing his disciplined attack, landing clean shots, keeping Davis honest. But Davis fought back, matching him punch for punch, refusing to let the fight slip away. It was the kind of round that judges agonize over. Close, competitive, impossible to call with certainty. And then came the final round. The energy in the arena reached its peak. Every punch mattered. Every exchange could be the difference between victory and defeat. Roach continued to press, showing no signs of fear, no hesitation. Davis searched for the knockout, loading up, trying to land that one decisive blow. But it never came. Instead, the fight ended the same way it had unfolded. Competitive, intense, and unresolved. When the final bell rang, there was no clear sense of certainty. Both fighters had moments. Both had made their case. It all came down to the judges. The scorecards were read. One judge saw it for Davis. The other two had it even. A majority draw. Just like that, the narrative shifted again. For Davis, it was a rare moment of vulnerability. He remained undefeated, but the aura of invincibility had been tested. Questions would follow. Had he underestimated Roach? Had he done enough? What did this mean for his dominance moving forward? For Roach, it was something else entirely. It was validation. He had stepped into the ring with one of the most feared fighters in the sport and not only survived, but thrived. He had pushed the champion to the brink, earned his respect, and proven to the world that he belonged at the highest level. And in many ways, that's what made this fight so compelling. It wasn't just about belts or records. It was about perception. It was about proving something to the fans, to the critics, and to themselves. Because sometimes, a draw tells a bigger story than a knockout ever could. It tells the story of a champion who was forced to dig deeper than ever before, and a challenger who refused to be defined by expectations. And now, the question lingers. Did Gervonta Davis escape? Or did Lamont Roach Jr. get denied? That's for the audience to decide. If you watched this fight, where do you stand? Did the judges get it right, or was there a clear winner in your eyes? And more importantly, do you want to see the rematch? Let me know your thoughts, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because stories like this don't end here.